Welcome back to Was It Real, the Hills Rewatch podcast. I'm Audrina Patridge here with my co-host Frankie Delgado and Brody Jenner. And today we're kicking off season 3 with episode 1, You Know What You Did, with a very special guest, Jason Sands. He was one of our producers. And this episode aired in August of 2007. So thank you for coming on, Jason.
You're welcome. Super excited. I remember this night quite well.
Jason, welcome. Happy to see you.
Thank you, Frankie.
You look
good
great.
To see you. Brody, good to see you.
Yeah, Jason,
I just
what's
saw
up,
a
buddy?
stat.
I know this episode was it was the highest rated episode the entire season.
More people watched this episode than watched the Succession finale.
Wow.
That's huge. Oh my God.
Is that true?
I guess everybody
That
really
is
wanted to see
absolutely
that.
true.
I guess everybody really wanted to see that sex tape.
Or was there a sex tape?
Oh man.
That's what we're
I don't
gonna
know.
ask you.
I don't know. I do not know.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, Brody, the thing about this episode was that
I think it was your birthday. That's why everybody wanted to watch.
it happened to be that everybody wanted to know how I party on my birthday.
Exactly.
And that was a little quick glimpse of how it goes down on the birthday. And funny enough, we're talking about my birthday that day, and it was just my birthday last night too. So
That is crazy. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah.
kind of weird that it's always my birthday on the hills.
I love that.
Here we are again. Okay, so basically this episode is when Heidi and Spencer throw a housewarming party, and then Lauren learns about a potentially friendship-shattering rumor that's going around, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
What were the rumors? They basically were saying that, like, me and Jason made, like, inappropriate videotapes. Who does that?
This is one of the highest rated episodes. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
So
here.
the funny thing about this episode is that there was that rumor which had circulated really on Perez Hilton. That was the thing, is that so when we were producing the show, there were stories appearing on Perez Hilton. And we started shooting the 3rd season, and we shot a ton of great scenes. I mean, I remember one with Brody, with you and Spencer going pinball machine shopping at this crazy place in the valley. It was like there were 1,000 old pinball machines, and it was like a beautiful scene at this amazing warehouse. And we had shot
Oh, I forgot about that.
several episodes worth of content because we weren't going to talk about the sex tape on the TV show. So we were, probably working on episode 3. And then word came down from whoever at MTV, the sex tape is in. And it was a hard thing to explain because it was happening honestly, it's hard to imagine. Social media didn't exist yet. Facebook was in its infancy. There was no Instagram, but it was Perez Hilton who was driving the story. And he kept writing about how there's a sex tape, there's a sex tape. And it made it difficult for us trying to tell the story of 4 young women in Los Angeles who were not celebrities. But you'd already been on the cover of Rolling Stone. But we were trying to, I think, the theme of this thing is, was it real? Well, a lot of it was real. What wasn't real is that you weren't just 4 average girls in Hollywood, and that, so we didn't figure out a way to integrate what was essentially tabloid gossip into the TV show. And ultimately we just decided that it was a rumor going around on the internet. And that's what brought it into story. And we had to toss out all this footage. And then we ended up with the big night at Laguna.
And that was Frankie's birthday. This is like also Frankie's when he steps into the hills too.
I sure did.
Yeah.
What a way to come into this, huh?
Right? He came in with a boom. And actually, in one of the episodes or the scenes, we're at Ladue and it cuts to a door. And me and Lauren are inside of the bathroom reading the letter that Heidi gave her. And that was actually after Ladue at Frankie's after party at his birthday.
Yeah, that's
and then
my
it
house.
was like,
that's where I lived. I lived in this townhomes type of like 3-story condos. And there's that bathroom was in my 2nd floor, and they were filming it, making it seem like you're at Ladue.
Yep. And Lauren and I had no idea that you guys got that through the door. So when we saw it, we were like, oh my God, they heard everything.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, there you go, though. That speaks again to the whole thing. That's the premise of your show. Was it real?
Yeah.
Now, you didn't read that at Ladue, but you read it, and you read
Mhm.
it that night. So we'd messed around a little bit and put it somewhere else, but that really did happen.
Yep, it really did.
What did the letter say?
We actually, she read it on camera, but it basically was Heidi just saying that she really missed Lauren at the housewarming party and she wishes that she was there and that she didn't do anything. And then Lauren's just like, she's fucking lying. She won't admit it.
So just to get to the bottom of this, so did Perez Hilton start this rumor? Is that what we're getting at? So I know it was driven by Perez Hilton. That's what it sounds like, right?
I have my own opinion.
Okay.
There is a lot of,
I can tell you this much. 2 days before I was in Perez Hilton, Spencer walked up to me and told me that story. And then 2 days later, it was on Perez. And we theorized that Spencer was talking to Perez.
There's a lot of.
I remember, Brody, but the first night you went on a date with Lauren at like Blowfish or something, it was a sushi joint on Sunset.
Yeah.
While we were filming, Perez was writing, Brody's on a date with Lauren Conrad at this restaurant right now.
So he had inside information.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was anybody from our team that was feeding Perez.
No. Guys, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We all know how important mental health is and how helpful therapy can be for that. But did you know that traditional therapy visits are on average over $100 per session? That can add up to thousands of dollars a year. Well, let us tell you about Cerebral. Cerebral is a 100% online mental health service that offers therapy and medication management for anxiety, depression, insomnia, stress, burnt out, and more. I personally have spent a lot of money on normal therapy. It's at least $180 a session, sometimes more. So the fact that Cerebral is available anytime and you can do it from home, it's all online, like this is just so much better.
Cerebral is here for anyone who's looking for help with their mental health, no matter where you are in your journey. Cerebral helps people with anxiety, depression, stress, insomnia, and more. If you feel like you're experiencing burnout or processing a major life event, Cerebral is care that's ready for you. Cerebral is one of the few services that provides medication management online through a licensed provider if clinically indicated. Affordable treatments that are 1/3 the price of traditional therapy. Treatment options are available with or without insurance. And for Mental Health Awareness Month this May, you can get an exclusive 50% off your first month of therapy by going to Cerebral.com/hills. That's Cerebral.com/hills for 50% off or more off your first month of therapy. For quality mental health care that's accessible and affordable, join Cerebral today. So for those of you who don't know what Hatch is, it's basically a sleep device that helps you go to sleep. It's a sound machine. Not only do I use it for my daughter, but I also use it for my dog, Asher, because he barks over every little sound outside, anything around the house or whatever. So I use it for him too, and it just drowns out the sound and helps him stay asleep. And with Hatch Rest, your child will sleep better so that you can too. So you're not waking up all night. The new and improved second generation Hatch Rest makes sleep better and more magical for your entire family. The all-in-one Hatch Rest is a smart sleep device with a sound machine and nightlight that grows with your kids. The Rest has helped over 3 million babies and parents get restful sleep. It's no wonder that it's consistently a top baby registry item. Right now, Hatch is offering our listeners up to 15% off your first purchase of a Hatch Rest and free shipping at hatch.co/hills. So if you're ready for improved sleep for your kids and yourself, go to hatch.co/hills to get up to 15% off and free shipping. That's hatch.co/hills.
There's a lot of articles and interviews done where there's a lot of fingers being pointed. I think at one point, Jen Bunny blamed Brody, and then Brody came out and said, I didn't do that. And there's a lot of people saying that Spencer and Heidi did it, and that's who Lauren truly believed started it. So I think at that point, who knows?
I mean, if it listen, if it was true about this rumor, whoever told somebody about that this thing existed, then that's who is to blame, no?
Right.
And it only 2 people knew about that thing, so it's got to be one of those 2 people. So at that point, it's if you didn't want this to come out ever, then
I just think
why talk about it?
Certainly never saw no sex tape ever made the light of day.
That's my point.
Right.
But if it was true, then which one of them 2 would ever have any reason to go and say that it even existed? I don't think I'm out there saying, hey, I have a sex tape to my friends.
No.
You're not, Frankie. You've told me that all the time. What are you talking about?
Oh, no.
Frankie.
That was between us, man. Damn it. Perez Hilton is about to.
Gosh. I mean, regardless if there was or wasn't, it's really nobody's business to expose, and that's private. And,
Right.
you know, I think The Hills was so huge then that people were like, oh my gosh, Lauren Conrad, because she was such a good girl and so like on point all the time, that the rumor of a sex tape was like huge, but nothing ever came to surface.
I mean, I honestly felt bad for her that, you know, because you guys were so young then. What were you, 21, 22 years old, if even that? And, you know, to have your business put out in public like that, whether it was true or not, I mean, that just had to be a traumatic thing. And, you know, it's sad that Lauren and Heidi have not been able to repair that damage, you know, because they still, I don't think, speak to this day.
No, they haven't. Heidi spoke about that too. Like she, you know, it's really sad. But I mean, I think there's just so many things in between their friendship that exploded, and it's hard to come back from that, especially something like this.
Who knows whoever started it? It is what it is, right? But I think that maybe whoever started it had in their mind that this was going to be the highest rated episode of the entire season, you know? And so, you know, you're trying to make a hit show and you're trying to get viewers. And I think that however that was started, I have no idea, but maybe somebody was thinking, hey, let's blow this show up and create some kind of drama or something like that. So I don't know.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
At somebody else, it worked at somebody else's expense, obviously, which is, you know, not
Lauren's
expense. So, you know, that was a bummer. And I know that was tough to deal with for Lauren. So, but it was the highest rated episode. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean,
trying to make a hit show. You're trying to make a hit show.
I know. And I guess that comes with being on a reality show. It's like any secret, there's no privacy, like anything you've ever confided in anyone or anything is like put on blast at some point.
Audrina, you remember the remake? I mean, like one of the producers said to us, look, you know, just let us know what's off limits and what, you know, we promise we won't talk about that. And as soon as you let them in on what was off limits, that was the first thing they did, was go to all the other castmates and, you know, try to get your deepest, darkest secrets out there and exposed. So
yeah,
that's kind of what you sign up for when you do a reality television show.
And
you gotta be all in.
Don't you think, I mean, there's gotta be, it's the first episode coming back from season 3. They want those big ratings. So
for sure,
this could have been manipulated by other even bigger things that we don't even, like, we weren't even close to, like that we might not even, we didn't think about, that could have made it even, we're going to do this, we're going to say these things. Who knows if people were prepared for this in the background, like, hey, this is going to happen, but this is going to be a big rating show. People are going to get paid real money. And after this, everybody got their paycheck. Everybody got paid.
Yep.
I remember Brody just calling me and being like, yo, we're going to go party at your club now. You started wearing diamonds.
I got some diamonds after that.
Chain.
Yeah, you had that big diamond chain. You had that archangel stuff. Like y'all started balling, dude.
All Affliction. That's all that was in Ed Hardy.
Audrina had her Chanel purses now. Like y'all were like, don't get twisted, guys. Like this was all
we put in our work. We
planned out perfectly. Yeah. Brand new cars. Everybody like, this was all.
It evolved.
It worked out.
Yeah. Of money. But Jason, really, I feel like the first episode, that was really the only talk of the tape. It kind of like we kind of changed subjects after this, after the first
Well,
season.
it did. It moved on from there. And then it's funny because I joke about it in my work producing other reality TV shows where I'll say that I made 30 episodes of TV about an event you never saw and was almost never talked about. You never even really knew. You knew because the famous line is, you knew what you did.
Yeah.
But we only mentioned what you did like once or twice.
You know why I'm mad at you?
Why, Laura?
You know why I'm mad at you. You know what you did.
What did I do?
You know what you did.
What did I do? What?
But it was that
literally
moment at the
so
club.
there's an event that you never see. You kind of know what it is. There's a rumor of something. But what happened is that there was a sincere break between that friendship, which was the cement that kind of was the first 2 seasons of the show was, you 4 girls were all really great friends. Lauren and Heidi were roommates. And then once that exploded, all we did was keep telling the story of how these girls didn't like each other. And that's ended up being one of the reasons why I left at the end of season 3, because I felt like we told that story 20 times.
Yeah, it was so repetitive.
How many ways can you get that Lauren and Heidi don't like each other? And it just got to be, I remember my last night on the show was the night before Christmas. It was the 23rd of December. We were wrapped, all ready to go home. And there was people were about to get on planes and they called us back to go shoot another confrontation at another club in Hollywood between Lauren and Heidi. And it was such a non-event because at that point, their emotional steam was out of it. So they kind of saw each other at the club and I was like, oh, Heidi's here. I think I'm going to go. Or there's Lauren, and then it's like, oh no, you guys have to talk to each other. And then I don't even know if that scene ever even made air, but it just felt like it got to be really kind of redundant and boring for me because I think in the first 2 seasons, the stories we were telling were pretty real. Lauren was in love with Jason Waller. And that was a heartbreaking story that she got her heart broken. And, we shot her going to drop off the golf clubs. And then, I think there was a moment, Brody, where you really were dating Lauren. Now, I think we
I don't know about that
moment. Well, something was going on.
In the very beginning of Lauren and I getting to know each other, there was some interest there for sure. We had just met and yeah, in the very beginning, but I wouldn't call it dating. I think it was very, dating, I would say
chemistry.
Yeah. Chemistry. We got along, I think we had some great conversations. There was chemistry. We had fun together. But as far as dating, I just think that we had good chemistry, we were able to continue that throughout, every season. We sort of played off the chemistry that we had.
Right. But there was a minute where I guess from the outside looking in, right?
Right. For
really
sure.
knew. It really felt like what we were filming was like a real romance between the two of you.
Right.
And that's like what sort of middle of season 2, something like that.
Right.
And then it kind of became obvious that what we were doing was more of a made for TV moment with you two.
Right.
And to be honest, I felt like the Spencer Heidi relationship was a made for TV moment. But lo and behold, 16, 17 years later, they're still married. They have 2 kids. That was a real bona fide love affair, And I have to admit, I was sort of skeptical. I was like, oh, is Spencer doing this just to get airtime? Is he really love Heidi? And, as a producer, you don't really know. You can only second guess. And I have to admit, I didn't think it was real.
Well, he proved the whole world.
There you go. Right.
Everybody that was rooting against him,
him,
people were rooting against him a lot. And I honestly, like, if imagine feeling that pressure of the whole world being like, you're not going to make it, you're not going to make it. And they really, truly loved each other. And I think that was what me and Brody probably knew more because we knew Spencer and we knew how he would talk about her behind closed doors. And he really loved her and cared about her and wanted to make it work. Going to his wedding, listening to his speech and was it called speech or his vows? Like, you could tell that's when I started being like, this is true love. These whatever it is, like they really are hypnotized for each other. They never saw. I never saw a wandering eye after like a couple of the first episode seasons, whatever it was. Yeah, probably first season. There was never a wandering eye. There was never like, Frankie, let's go to the club, or there was never. That's why me and Brody got even closer, because it was now it was just me and Brody. He kind of took I am gonna have a serious relationship, and that's what happens, right? The party team that we had.
Well, yeah, Heidi and Spencer actually turned serious, and then Brody and Lauren just it fizzled. And you could kind of see how that all naturally progressed with the whole dynamic of everybody. And then Whitney is just kind of in and out a little bit, more like the person that Lauren confides in about what's going on in her life. Just like Kiara was that to me at Epic. But there's always so many people involved, and like we had to get our stories out and tell everyone to let the audience know what was going on. Breathe some life into your own backyard with fastgrowingtrees.com. This spring, from shade to fresh fruit to privacy and natural beauty, let fastgrowingtrees.com help you plant your dream garden with their expert advice and fast, reliable shipping.
Fastgrowingtrees.com's plant experts curate thousands of easy-to-grow plant, shrub, and tree varieties for your unique Climate Meyer lemons to evergreens and everything in between.
Happy plants, happy home, right? But sometimes it's hard to know which plants will do best. No problem, because with fastgrowingtrees.com, you get customized recommendations based on your specific needs. Plus, their plant experts are always available to help keep your plants growing healthy through the season and beyond. I love Fast Growing Trees because I get to choose like the Meyer lemon trees, or I also have chose a lot of the privacy shrubs to put between my neighbor and I. They just have so many options. And it's so easy as well.
Join over 1.5 million happy fast-growing tree customers. Go to fastgrowingtrees.com/thehills now to get 15% off your entire order. Get 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com/thehills.
I can't imagine what it was like to be you guys, because you were trying to live your life and we were trying to tell every aspect of it, but it was tough to live your life. I mean, I remember like even Lauren feeling like after the sort of on-screen version of Brody and Lauren ended, that she didn't want to date anybody on the TV show who wanted to be on the TV show. You know, she didn't, anybody that she wanted to date in real life, she didn't want to be with them if they wanted to film.
Because she thought it was being used.
Right. So that the only way that she could know that someone was genuinely, or she thought she would know someone was genuinely interested in her, was if they're like, hey, you do your TV show thing and we'll have a relationship in real life. And that's got to be just a horrible place to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust issues that come from it.
I mean, you tell me, Audrina, how did you feel? Because you were that same thing.
I think
TV, guys just wanted to date you maybe for TV airtime or for you. I think they really wanted to date you because it's you, but at the same time, they want.
I mean, I brought so many people on the show just for the show too. So it's like, in a way, I kind of used people too, like all those models. I was like, I need a hot guy, just go on a date with me, you know. And some of it made for good TV, but it was nothing ever serious.
The guy with the spiky hair.
Yeah, the guy that, you know, said this salad's like a party, and he's like on his phone talking about boobs the whole time. Like, okay.
Brody, were you used, you think?
Oh, I'm sure I was. You know, it was all good though back then. Use me all you want.
It's like mutual when you understand it.
We were using each other, I guess. You know, it was whatever.
I'm just saying, like, because there was a lot of interest.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. With reality shows like that, I mean, you don't really, at that point too, especially how successful it was, I think it was tough to find out what relationships, even friendships, to be completely honest, are genuine and what's not. I think that you just sort of have to, you know, I think the main goal is at that point is to make the best possible show you can make. And it doesn't even matter who's using you, who's not using it. If they're good for TV, you know, if they're funny, if people want to watch them, if there's drama, then bring them on, you know, regardless. I think that making a good product is the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think after filming for so long, all of our brains kind of went there. Like, what's going to make good TV, or
Right.
this person would be great. Let's bring them on. So we almost had our own producer hat on, like trying to make a good show as well.
And I think that that's what, I say this all the time about Spencer. I think that Spencer going into that show from day one, that was the number one thing that he had on his brain, because we had just come off Princes of Malibu. We had a lot of experience in reality television, and Spencer was just going in like, how do we make the best show on TV with drama? And, a lot of it made him look like an asshole, but the Spencer I see on this show, a lot of the times, especially the interactions with Heidi, and these looks they give each other and how kind of rude he is to her sometimes, I know he's acting. And that's the thing. I could watch him and be like, that's not the Spencer that I grew up with and knew. I just know that he wanted to play. And he would always tell me, I want to be the most hated person on this show. Like, that is my goal. And I was always telling him, like, you know what, that's not my goal. I don't want to be the most hated person, but that, he knew that. I think during that time there was Kevin Federline and Britney Spears and, the K-Fed Britney thing. And Spencer was just, he was a very talented producer, and he knew what he wanted to do on that show. And I think, he did what he literally said, I want to be the most hated person in the world. And I think at one point he actually was the most hated person. Manifestation is a real thing. And Spencer's definitely one of those people that can do that.
Because he did do that. He did. I remember him saying that to me. I want to be, this is who I'm going to be. And then the reason I felt sorry for him was because it became true. He couldn't walk through an airport. He couldn't go grocery shopping. He couldn't go anywhere. And I think in his mind, he was playing a character.
For sure.
But in the world's mind, he was revealing his true colors. And people didn't know the difference of what was what. And it ended up, I think, being a very difficult time for him in that immediate hype of like, you're a horrible person. And he's like, I'm just making a TV show here, Yeah.
Back then, people didn't get it. I think nowadays with so many reality shows, like people kind of get it. Like, that it can't be so dramatic every single moment. Like, or maybe it can with some of these housewives shows. They're crazy.
The magic of the reality TV show is that we know that those dramatic moments, as soon as the camera comes off, sometimes it's like a pickup scene.
Yeah.
It's like we had to go pick up that scene. We had to go make sure that drama happens so we can tell the story of what's going to happen in the future.
And The Hills was such a unique show at the time. I think that it was, the way even Laguna Beach was shot, it was shot very, at that time in reality television, it was The Simple Life. It was Real World. I mean, and you could tell these
Simpson.
Right. These were really reality shows. But the way The Hills was filmed was almost like a sitcom TV show. It was shot so beautiful, and people were like, "Is this real? Is this scripted?" People really didn't. They really had no clue what format it was. So I think that added to a lot of, and that Spencer was like, "I'm playing it like a sitcom," and a lot of people thought that's who he really was, and still do to this day.
Yeah. Jason, were you a producer on Laguna Beach?
Yeah. So I came out on the second season of Laguna.
Oh, wow. So you were there from the start, pretty much.
Well, I didn't do the first season. I had a bunch of friends who did the first season. And from everything I heard, it was super hard to work on, and it was, blah, blah, blah. But I remember my first shoot day on Laguna, I had no idea who these people were. I mean, literally, I'd never seen the first season. I didn't know what was going on. I get sent down there, and there were some story producers there. And it was a party at Lauren's house with all the Laguna kids. And there was this drama about, like, what's up with Lauren and Stephen Coletti. And so one of the story people says, yeah, go up to Stephen and see if he'll go have a conversation with Lauren. And I'm like, which one's Stephen? And they're like, that guy there. I'm like, okay. Hey, Stephen, I'm Jason. Will you go talk to Lauren? He's like, fuck off. I'm like, he told me to fuck off. And they're like, yeah, we thought he would. I'm like, why did you tell me to do that? Now go ask Lauren if she'll talk to Stephen. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, Lauren, will you go talk to Stephen? No. I'm like, she said no. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know what was going on.
You guys took a lot of heat from all of us too. All those.
Yeah, they did.
Jason.
But I felt like I was always fair to you guys.
You
For
were.
sure.
I loved you.
I
Yeah.
mean, I remember there was a thing where Lauren was chasing around for Lisa Love, trying to find some tickets for something for a fashion show. And we were making it seem like she was going to fail. And she got really pissed and was ready to walk. And I was like, Lauren, look, you're going to win. It's just fine. Just take the L 2 more times. And on the last stop, you're going to get the tickets and you're going to be the hero. Just play ball with us and let's get this done.
Yeah.
And of course she did. And she got the tickets and, Lisa Love was happy. And I think she had to deal with, what was her name who ran all those fashion shows? Kelly Catrone.
Oh, yes, right.
She was the villain in that episode, I think.
Yeah, we're not to the Kelly episodes yet.
No, we went through that episode, no?
Oh, we did because they hired her.
They hired her to go and find those tickets for
the tickets.
She wanted extra tickets.
Yeah.
For the LA Fashion Week or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a hard invite to get, so she had to figure it out. Which it was
See, but you need the hype. You need the drama to go up and go through the emotions with the character. And then
Well, that's the stuff that was kind of fake. That's why
I would agree.
Real.
Yeah.
That was the stuff that
the work stuff was fake. But I think a lot of the relationship drama was real.
Yeah. 100%.
In the beginning,
at one point,
Audrina,
for sure. You liked Justin Bobby.
I brought him on the show. We were together before. Yeah. Remember, we filmed a scene on first season. And that never made the cut.
Party at Malibu, where he left. Justin Bobby left with Brody.
I don't remember. I think he left to go to a party.
So Justin Bobby says to me "Hey, I'm splitting. Will you hold on to my motorcycle helmet?" And I go, "Sure." And then you're shooting a scene, and I snuck up behind you and stuck the helmet next to you.
That was you. Poor Justin.
And you're like, "Where's Justin Bobby?"
An apology.
And here's his helmet.
That's
hey,
funny.
it made a good scene though.
Where'd you go, Brody?
Party somewhere, probably. I don't know. Shit, somewhere fun. Apparently, somewhere fun. No, we would always we'll get to those episodes, but I think to touch on your point, Jason, in the beginning, I think for sure. I mean, we were all genuinely getting to know each other for the first, I would say 4 seasons, 4 seasons. It was a lot of the relationships were very genuine and we were just getting to know it. I think later on in the series, you do start to see more, fabricated storylines and more acting and trying to get it. Cause at that point we had all become so comfortable with each other. We had every storyline, but we were now all characters of the show and we had to keep storyline going and all filmed together. So I think that in this moment, for sure, it was still very genuine and the relationships were very real.
Well, I think the other problem for the production was as the show became more successful, you guys became celebrities in your own life. And what was really happening in your life was red carpets and nightclub appearances and stuff that we couldn't follow because on the TV show,
you're right.
You were just kids trying to make it in Hollywood. You hadn't made it. Yeah. So that made it really difficult to tell any true stories because your real lives had become something that was off limits to us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had some arguments with the network about, I was like, at a certain point, why don't we embrace that this show started with them coming to Hollywood to make it, and now they have. Like, I wanted to do the storyline of Heidi making a record and Lauren making a fashion line. It's like, well, she went to FIT. Why can't we tell the story that she's now going to do a runway show of her own? And they're like, no, they're still struggling. They need to be this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, all right, well, it's just less interesting to me because if we were to say, for example, shot Lauren doing a runway show, there would have been real stakes.
Mm-hmm.
She would have had a ton of anxiety, a ton of emotion about how was it going to be received. And there would have been something exciting to shoot. If we shot Heidi in the studio and she had a record release party and it didn't go well, that would have been very real. But instead it was like, no, Heidi, Brent Bolthouse is going to yell at you one more time and not fire you. And Audrina, you're going to go hang out in Epic. And I remember at the end of Epic, they were literally taking the photos off the wall everybody was moving out of that office,
Yeah.
and the only thing happening was just you were sitting there with Kiara pretending that there was something to do.
I know. I think in this episode, there's a scene where like Heidi comes, or maybe it was the last episode, but she comes to the work to give me her housewarming invite for me and Lauren. And I remember I had to run back to Kiara like 3 or 4 times because I wasn't upset enough. And I was like, do I have to do it again? I already did it.
Those walk-ups were so annoying, huh?
But it worked. I mean, I guess it's better to do more than not enough. It was just that desk that, was my little space.
What else happened in this episode?
Well, I guess from the top, Whitney got promoted to a fashion contributor, and Lauren congratulates her and fills her in basically on this whole tape scandal.
I started having like my friends coming up to me and just telling me like really like rude, horrible rumors.
And then they go to Heidi and Spencer throwing their housewarming party. This is the episode. Then Heidi comes to my work to give me the invite, but she should have went to Lauren's, not to me. That is one question. Do you know why? Did you guys have her go to me to give the invite? Or like, I feel like she should have gave it to Lauren.
I have no idea why we did that.
Huh. Because at that point, Heidi and I weren't really talking, but she was still kind of talking to Lauren. So when I saw this, I was like, she should have gave it to Lauren. I wonder why they had her bring it to me. Maybe because it added more to that story.
Well, I think we were just trying to connect the dots to get, to bring you into the fold, if nothing else, because I think at one point there was even like, because, you were sort of not quite in the same mix with them. And it was like, oh, we got to connect Audrina into it. And the same thing with Whitney. It felt like Whitney kind of lived her life sort of outside of the group. And so, but they always had Teen Vogue as their spot that Lauren and Whitney could connect. And we were trying to put something, and who knows, maybe it was just we had to like make Epic happy. Then shoot a scene at Epic that we knew we would use.
Yeah, I know. Well, because when I worked at Coyote, there wasn't really anyone there that I could talk to. So at Epic, there was Kiara, who was more my age and someone that I worked with or went to shows with and all that. So it just made sense.
So it starts off in the closet, and then you hear about, Whitney's promotion. Lauren says about the sex tape. Then we cut to the new house, and Heidi and Spencer are getting ready to throw a housewarming party. Heidi's guest list includes Lauren, Audrina, and Whitney, to which Spencer smugly replies, let's see if we can get him on the list.
I'll invite Lauren and Audrina, and then Whitney.
See if we can get him on the list.
Amidst the rumors and the fact that their friendship with Heidi hasn't been the same, Lauren and Audrina decide not to attend the housewarming party, but instead go to Ladue.
That was our home away from home.
Spencer tells Heidi that Frankie invited them to a birthday party at Ladue that night, and Heidi wonders if Lauren will be there. They sadly lament the absence at the housewarming party. Spencer gets that Lauren hates him, but thinks it's wrong for her to project that hate onto Heidi. Oh, I guess so. We played it like he got it that he might have been a villain, but he didn't want her to be a villain, which actually makes sense.
And then we arrive at Ladue, and this is where all the heated dramas happens.
Oh, yeah.
This is Frankie's birthday. We walk in. It's your birthday. Greg Carney is there. Chris Carney is there. Like everybody was there.
You could tell. I think at that point it looked like Lauren and Greg Carney were kind of dating, because didn't they date in real life for a little while too, right?
Yeah.
And they kept it off the show, or did they?
They kept it off the show completely.
Yeah. That was never a thing.
Yeah, but I saw that. I saw her sitting on his lap.
And in this episode, Justin was there, but I was with him off camera. So I was kind of going back and forth.
And then here's where it gets dicey. So everyone's at Ladue for Frankie's party. Heidi walks over to Lauren and gives her the letter. In response, Lauren gets up and leaves. And what she did was came and started screaming at us.
Oh, that's what she really did, because they showed up.
And Adam was there. Sean was there. Sarah was there. I mean, everybody was there.
A lot of us were clueless that they were like about this whole.
We didn't know all the details yet. Like,
I had no clue that there was a tape going on around. Did you know that, Brody? During that time?
No, I had no idea.
So
I knew a little bit.
Spencer and Heidi were my friends as well, so they were coming to my birthday because they were actually invited to It was actually my birthday, to be precise on this.
So that
They
was
made it
real.
like, hey, well, it's Frankie's birthday. Let's film there since all the cast is gonna be there, and it will be a neutral zone for everybody to be there because I was Switzerland at that point, right?
Like you're always Switzerland. But it's
But
good.
this
You're the
is when the shit
peacemaker.
hits the fan. Is that then
Yeah.
we sort of say, "Hey, Lauren, just be a grown up, go back out and have fun. It's Frankie's birthday." And then somehow there's another encounter. And the way we shot that show, like you said, Brody, is everything was kind of lit and blocked. Like you're going to walk in, you're going to sit here, camera's going to be here, single, master, the whole nine. And then chaos erupts. And I can't remember how they ended up, who ran first, whether Lauren said, I'm out of here, and Heidi chased her.
We were
end up like near the
downstairs.
kitchen. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't lit for it. It's completely just like half black, the dark, you couldn't see anything. And that was just like a true documentary moment because we had no idea what was going to happen. And then they have that thing, what you did. And then I think Lauren might have just left at that point. And
well, then we went to Frankie's house.
No,
after
we all left.
I don't think that ever made the TV show, did it?
It did because that's where you got all the footage of her talking to Audrina on the.
I know we went there and we got that audio, but I don't think it made it into the show.
It did.
The scene of well, people don't know that we went to Frankie's, but on the show they just used that particular scene of the door at Frankie's. So people think it's at Ladue, but it was really at Frankie's. So I guess in storyline, people just think Lauren left after Ladue, but in real life, we did go out after. Okay, Jason, we don't want to keep you too long, but thank you so much for coming on. We got a lot of good information. I think the fans are really going to appreciate, and it was so good seeing you.
So good to see
you guys.
Good to see you, Jason.
I can't wait to catch up face to face, and good luck on everything you do. And more than anything, Brody, you're not a parent yet, right? It's on the way.
Yeah, about a month away.
But I love that you guys are both parents, Audrina and Frankie. Brody, best decision you ever made in your life.
Thanks,
you two will
buddy.
say it. Having kids, my kid's now a college graduate, and you guys met him when he was just a little 6-7-year-old.
Yep.
And I have to say, good luck in everything you do, and I'm a big fan of all you guys. Take care.
Thanks,
So
Jason.
much.
All right.
Big fan of you too, brother. Okay, you're the man.
Bye. Tune in next week for part 2. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Be sure to start with the pilot episode and catch all of our episode recaps.